Hello everyone, so today I'll be doing my presentation on pituitary gland, acromegaly, and how it relates to David and Goliath and the story of them. So here's my outline. So I kind of told you what we were talking about, and then we will go over the pituitary gland and where it's located and what it does, the hormones that it secretes, acromegaly and what it is and how it relates to David and Goliath, and also we'll go over the story of David and Goliath. So the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a small pea-sized organ located at the base of the brain that controls many essential functions in the body, including growth. The pituitary gland is often referred to as the master gland. It regulates various other glands in the body and plays a crucial role in controlling hormones related to growth, stress response, and the function of the body's organs. So the pituitary gland is very important when it comes to hormones and other glands knowing what to do and how it's supposed to work in the body. So it's very important that we make sure our pituitary gland is safe and has no tumors or anything on it, especially where it's located. So here's a picture of where the pituitary gland is located. So as you can tell, the hypothalamus is right here. The pituitary gland is right under the hypothalamus, and it looks like this. It's very, very tiny, and it's right at the base of the brain, right behind the eyes. But as you can tell, it contains the posterior lobe and the anterior lobe, so the one in the back and the one in the front. And it looks tiny, but it's also known as the master gland because it releases so many hormones, and it also tells other glands what to release and what to do, which is very important when it comes to like being sick or anything like that. So it's very important that we need to make sure our pituitary gland is safe. But I think it's really cool where the location of the pituitary gland is, right at the base of the brain, right underneath the hypothalamus, which is right here, which is another vital part of the brain. But next we have hormones that the pituitary gland secretes. So when the pituitary gland secretes excessive growth hormone, it's often due to a benign tumor. It can result in acromegaly, a condition characterized by abnormal growth of the bones and tissue. People with acromegaly may experience enlargement of hands, feet, and facial features. If acromegaly developed before the bones close in childhood, it can lead to gigantism, where the person grows to an abnormal large size. The pituitary gland is involved in the body's stress response, releasing hormones like cortisol that prepare the body for fight or flight situations. So the two hormones that I'm going to be talking about that the pituitary gland secretes is excessive growth hormone and cortisol, which is excessive growth hormone is released when there is a tumor on the pituitary gland, and this can result in acromegaly, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I think that's very cool, honestly, that the pituitary gland will secrete that when there's a threat to it. But we just need to be careful where like a benign tumor sits, because in that area right underneath the brain is very dangerous. Right at the base of the brain, sorry. And also it releases cortisol, which prepares the body for fight or flight situations, which is important to the story of David and Goliath, but we'll get there in just a second. So now, acromegaly. Acromegaly is a rare medical condition that results in the overproduction of growth hormone, typically due to benign tumor adenoma of the pituitary gland. Acromegaly can cause enlargement of bones and tissues, and the most noticeable symptoms of acromegaly involve gradual enlargement of certain body parts, which are the hands and feet and facial features. So acromegaly is caused by the overproduction of growth hormone, which the pituitary gland releases, and it happens because there's a benign tumor on the pituitary gland. So it kind of like goes out of whack and starts releasing this hormone, and this hormone allows the body to grow at an abnormal rate, and tends to make body and facial features and body features much larger and bigger. So here's an example of acromegaly. As you can tell on the right side right here, this is the normal side. But for a patient with acromegaly, they have an enlargement of their forehead, and you can definitely tell it kind of sticks out more. An enlarged nose, you can definitely tell the difference right here between the noses. This one's just way bigger. And then enlarged lips. This one's kind of hard to see because it's off, but they're kind of pointing out more. They're kind of more prominent forward. And then a larger chin and jawline right here. So definitely you can tell already by the size difference, that the jawline is just poking out quite more, and it definitely sticks out further more to the front. And then also, acromegaly can make the hands look different and the feet look different, but here are the hands. As you can tell, this is normal person hands. Nail beds look good, normal size. And then acromegaly persons, the fingers are definitely bigger, and the nail beds look quite smaller compared to the hands, which you can definitely tell is like a sign of acromegaly, because right here the nail beds look proportional size and these ones are just off. They're way tinier compared to the hand. But that's just a couple signs. And then the feet, of course, would look just similar to the hands, like a normal person would look normal, and then the nail beds of their toes would look quite smaller, and their finger toes would actually be quite thicker and more round and chunky. So next we have Goliath. So Goliath was a giant. He was a Philistine giant in the book of Samuel, and many texts describe him to be 6 to 9 feet and 9 inches tall. So he's somewhere between 6 and 9 feet inches tall. Most of the time when I have read Samuel, I've always thought Goliath as 9 feet and 9 inches tall, which most likely describes Goliath to have acromegaly. But he also was a giant, and those were normal back in the Bible days. But so as you can tell from this picture, but this is a Philistine warrior, and then here's Goliath. You can tell that his bones are definitely larger, like his tibia and fibula, and his femur right here, his arms, and his facial features right here. You can definitely tell that they are way more enlarged than this little person, which is probably normal height, which normal height back then, I think, for them was about 5 feet. So, Goliath was a giant who wanted to fight against Saul's army, but David was a small boy who was like, okay, I'll fight him. So next slide. David. So he was significantly smaller than Goliath, very small, but his pituitary gland released cortisol, which made him in a fight or flight situation. So he decided to fight, and his pituitary gland maintained balance and strength, especially in challenging or stressful situations like this. And David faced Goliath with immersed courage, which could be a physical manifestation of the body's natural response to danger. So his pituitary gland definitely released a hormone that calmed him down, allowed him to be balanced, and have courage to come out. And I believe that his pituitary gland did secrete this, and he defeated Goliath in the end. But yes, here are all my sources now, and that's all I have. Thank you for listening. Bye.